Our topic covers industrial age communication. So, industrial society needed faster ways to share information across long distances to keep up with growing businesses and commerce. Traditional mail was too slow, so communication shifted toward electronic systems. This change built the foundation of modern infrastructure, revolutionized business connectivity, improved trade operations, and strengthened social relationships across distances. So let's take a look on how the communication evolved in industrial age.
So, good day everyone. Today I will talk about the electric telegraph invented in 1774 by George Lovel Lesage. So, George Lovel Lesage was a Swiss scientist who created one of the first electric telegraph in Geneva, Switzerland. So, the electric telegraph used 24 separate wires, and each wire stood for one letter of the alphabet. So when electricity was sent through a wire, a small device called an electroscope would move. So the movement showed which letter was being sent so the message could be formed. But even though this was a smart idea at that time, it was very practical because it needed too many wires. It is also a complicated and expensive, so it was not widely used. But even with these problems, George Louis Lesage is still important in history because his invention helped start the development of better telegraph system in the future.
The typewriter was a truly special machine that changed how, how we share story. It all started in 1829 when William Austin Burt invented the typographer. Even though it was a simple wooden box, it was the first big step toward writing without messy pen and ink. During the Industrial Revolution, this device became the heartbeat of every newspaper. Before the typewriter arrived, reporters had to write these stories by their hands, which was slow and often hard for editors to read. Once the typewriter arrived, reporters could type their stories quickly and clearly. This allows editors to check their news fast and get it printed for citizens to read. Because of these machines, people finally got to hear about what was happening in the world almost as soon as it possible.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will be discussing the invention of the telegraph, one of the most important communication technologies in history. Before modern phones and the internet, people used the telegraph to send messages over long distances. The electric telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse in 1837. It revolutionized communication because it allowed information to travel quickly across cities and even countries. Together with Alfred Vail, Morse developed what we now call Morse code in 1838. Morse code uses a system of dots and dashes to represent letters and numbers. These coded signals were sent through electrical wires using a machine called a telegraph. When a message was sent, electrical pulses traveled through wires and created clicking sounds on the receiving end. The operator would then translate those sounds into letters and words using Morse code. Because of this invention, communication became faster and more efficient, especially in businesses, railways, and military operations. In conclusion, the telegraph was a groundbreaking invention that changed global communication. It laid the foundation for modern communication systems that we use today.
Morse code was developed by Samuel Morse in the 1830s and 1840s. It is a system of communication that uses a series of dots and dashes to represent letters, numbers, and punctuation, which can be transmitted as electrical signals through a telegraph. Each letter of the alphabet has its own unique combination of dots and dashes. For example, the letter S is 3 dots and the letter O is 3 dashes, which together form the famous distress signal SOS. The first official long-distance message ever sent using Morse code was in 1844, reading, "What hath God wrought?" It was widely used by the military railroads and news agencies as the fastest way to communicate over long distances. Although it is rarely used in everyday life today, Morse code is still recognized worldwide and remains an important part of communication history.
Typewriter was invented in 1829 by William Austenberg. It was one of the earliest machines designed to help people write faster and more clearly compared to handwriting. Before the typewriter, all documents were written by hand. This took a long time and handwriting was sometimes difficult to read. When the typewriter was introduced, it made writing more efficient, uniform, and professional. So, the typewriter is important because it shows how technology changes communication. During the 19th century, especially around Industrial Revolution, industries and business were growing. There was a need for faster communication in newspaper, government offices, and companies. The typewriter helped editors, reporters, and office workers produce documents quickly and accurately. It also created new job opportunities, especially for women who become typists and secretaries. This changed social roles and helped women enter the workforce in larger number.
Good day, everyone. Today, I am going to talk about the invention of the telephone. The telephone was invented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. It is a device that allows people to communicate with each other through voice over long distances. Before the telephone was invented, communication from faraway places was very slow. People used letters or telegrams, which could take days or even weeks to arrive. On March 7, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell received the official patent for the telephone. The first words overspoken through the telephone were, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." These words were directed to his assistant, Thomas Watson, during one of their experiments. Later on, the telephone was improved by Thomas Edison, who developed a better transmitter. Because of those improvements, the telephone became clearer and more useful for everyday communication. The invention of the telephone completely changed the world. It made communication faster, easier, and more convenient. It helps businesses grow, allowed families to communicate with each other, and became the foundation of modern telecommunications. Today, our smartphones are advanced versions of the early telephones. Even though technology has improved greatly, it all started with Alexander Graham Bell's invention in 1876. In conclusion, the telephone is one of the most important inventions in history because it transformed the way people communicate and connect with each other. Thank you.
Good day everyone. Today I'll be presenting two groundbreaking inventions that transform communication and technology, the phonograph and the wireless telegraph. These inventions not only changed how people interacted with sound and messages, but also laid the foundation for modern communication systems we rely on today. The phonograph, 1877. In 1877, Thomas Edison invented the phonograph, the very first device capable of recording and playing back sound. Edison originally explored ways to record telephone and telegraph messages, but his experiments led him to the revolutionary idea of capturing sound itself. The first words ever recorded were the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. This invention amazed the world and marked the beginning of this music and recording industry. Without Edison's phonograph, we would not have the audio technologies we enjoy today, from vinyl records to digital streaming.
Today I will talk about the invention of the wireless telegraph and the man behind it, Guglielmo Marconi. In 1895, Marconi developed the first practical wireless system. Unlike the traditional telegraph that used physical wires, his invention used radio waves to send Morse code signals over long distances. This was a major breakthrough because it allowed communication without the needs for cables. In 1901, Marconi successfully sent the first transatlantic wireless signal from England to Newfoundland and Canada. This proved that messages could travel across oceans without wires. Because of this achievement, communication became faster and more efficient, especially for ships at sea. His invention greatly improved maritime communication and helped save lives by allowing ships to send distress signals. Due to his important contribution to science and communication, Marconi received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909. Today, his wireless telegraph became the foundation of modern radio and wireless communication technology, including the devices we use every day.